The Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra is one of the world's finest musical institutions, and if you want to play with it, you face a rigorous selection process honed over 170 years. 20 years ago, two young brothers from Adelaide made the cut, and this week they're bringing the orchestra home for an Australian tour. Nikki Wilson-Smith reports from Perth.
It's considered one of the world's great orchestras. Right up there with the London and Berlin Philharmonics, its rigorous selection process means getting in is tough.
With the best people, the best music, in the best way.
But two boys from Adelaide have strived and eventually made it into that elite group. Ben and Toby Lea are the first twins in the history of the orchestra, and this week they're back in Australia on tour.
Miss it desperately, practically every day of our lives, and to have the opportunity to come back here with our orchestra that we work with is just the best thing ever. So
it's like a dream come true. Yeah, it's great.
Toby plays viola, Ben plays violin. The pair headed to Vienna when they were 21 years old, planning to stay for a year. But those plans went out the window.
Ben's been a full-time member of the orchestra now for close on 20 years. And I've been there a little less long than that, 17. But 17 years is a big chunk of life. And so I think the most important thing, really, the most important aspect is that it's fun because we're continuing to learn.
Both men now live with their families in Vienna. Ben Lea met his Austrian wife through his brother in a case of mistaken identity. Karen was friends with Toby but didn't realise he had a twin when she came over and hugged Ben after a concert, thinking he was his brother.
If you grow up as a twin, then you get very used to that very quickly. And I'll answer to Ben, and he'll answer to Toby, so it's fine, yeah.
The pair learnt to deal with the confusion of being identical early in life.
Being twins, we always did things together, and I remember going through school in Australia, one of the most common questions was, what's it like being a twin? And at a very early age, I learned...
Yeah, you learn the answer, but we don't know what it's like not to be one, so...
Classical music appears to be in the blood. Their sister is also a musician in Tasmania.
Our parents are actually not musicians. Mum was an amateur pianist, well, amateur. She played piano when she was growing up. Dad took up the cello after we took up the violin, just for fun. And it was a very musical household. Early memories involve the radio being on all the time, and Mum and Dad took us to concerts from a very early age, and the interest was always there.
That interest grew, and they had their first lesson when they were 5.
We were fortunate enough to have a fantastic musical education in this country, which helped us in our careers in the future in Europe.
Because Australia is so isolated from the rest of the world, just geographically speaking, doesn't make it any less...
legitimate?
No, not at all.
Now, 40 years after their first music lesson, the twins are proud to bring the orchestra's famous golden sound to an Australian stage.
They are very intelligent and very smart and good musicians, and especially Toby is in one of the artistic leading positions in the orchestra.
Playing music is an expression of the soul. If you are good at doing anything, then it's an expression of what makes you a human being.
And how about this? The Vienna Philharmonic is so revered that if you want a weekend subscription to the orchestra in its hometown, the waiting list is 13 years. Nikki Wilson-Smith with that report.